Hello everyone and welcome back to the EveAIO YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going ahead and giving you a broken down overview of the tools page. So let's go ahead and begin. Before we go ahead and begin today's video, I'm actually going to leave timestamps in the description if you want to go ahead and refer to a certain part of this video. However, I will go ahead and break it all down. If you want to follow along from start to finish, then you can. So I'm going to quickly give you an overview of everything we see here. Then we're going to go ahead and break down each part. So we have the knowledge base, the Shopify Manager. This is to go ahead and add Shopify sites to Eve as well as get shipping rates. You have the splash breaker, which I will explain in a moment. You have your remote task monitor section, the manual cookie gatherer, and then you have the target cookie gatherer as well. So I'm going to begin with the knowledge base. At the moment, we have yet to go ahead and finish all the written guides for all the platforms, so this doesn't make much sense at the moment, but I'll go ahead and explain the idea. Essentially, this will go ahead and open up specific guides for platforms that EveAIO supports. So if you need information regarding a certain platform, you can utilize this. Obviously, once it's fully operating and you can use it, we'll let you know, but that is the intended purpose of the knowledge base. Moving over to the Shopify Manager, if you hit the open button, that will go ahead and actually pop up the Shopify Manager, and there is quite a lot to see here, so I'm going to go ahead and break it all down. So I'm going to go ahead and begin with adding a Shopify store to Eve. So as you guys can see, there is a ton of Shopify stores here, a wide variety. However, there is a likelihood that there'll be a Shopify store that is not here that you want to add. So let's go ahead and add one. All you simply want to do is hit the add button, and then it will pop up this box. Shopify edition, homepage/pro link, website name, add Shopify store. Very simple. We go ahead and put in the link and then the name. So I've actually gone ahead and got a website here. I'm going to go ahead and put this link in here. Then I'm going to type in the site name. You have to make sure it's obviously Shopify based, otherwise it's not going to work. But I've gone ahead and click add Shopify store. It'll go ahead and add it. As you guys can see, it was a success. If I scroll down here, you can see that the site has been added. So if I were to go ahead and click on any of these sites, this is the screen that is going to pop up, and this will allow you to go ahead and get shipping rates. So shipping rates are pretty self-explanatory. It is the rate for the shipping of the item to you. So obviously, if you want to know this information before release, it is pretty useful. So I'll go ahead and break down how this works. So once you click on the site, let's say I want to go ahead and get the shipping rate for an item that is dropping on alumni. I'd go ahead and put in the product link here. So let me go ahead and grab a random link here. Let's put that in, and then you'd go ahead and configure the rate name. So let's say, for example, I just type in test, but you can go ahead and configure this accordingly. Let's say, for example, you want it to ship to a US address, you could type in US. Let's say you want it to ship to an EU address, you can type in EU, and so on. Now my profile is actually configured with a UK address, so I expect an error to pop up. However, I will show you guys what this looks like when it actually works. Then you can go ahead and enter a proxy in if you wish, and you can also enable this by hitting it to the right and putting in a username and password. I'm not going to do that in this video, but hit get shipping rate, it'll process, an error should pop up, and as you guys can see, an error did pop up, but you guys are seeing on screen what it looks like when it actually works. As you guys can see, the shipping rate goes there, it gives you the rate, and it is some pretty useful information. Finally, before we go ahead and end off this Shopify Manager section, if you want to go ahead and delete a Shopify store, you guys can see that these are locked because these are actually part of Eve. But if you wish to go ahead and delete a site that you've added, hit the delete button once you selected it, and it will go ahead and delete that site. Moving on to the splash breaker, hit the open button, and this is what it's going to look like. You can go in full screen mode. I'm not going to do that for this video, but I want to explain what this looks like. So you have the link box, the proxy list if you wish to use a proxy list from the proxy section, and then you type in the number of browsers and hit add browser. So let me quickly go ahead and grab a link here. We're going to grab this alumni link that I was using previously in the video, put the link in here. The proxy, I'm going to keep that empty. The proxy list, I don't want to use the proxy list. I want one browser. Click add browsers button. As you guys are going to see, it's going to load up the website here, and that's the link. As you guys can see, this is the preview window that shows you what this link looks like. Then you can go ahead and close down the browser with this button, or pop it out as a window with this button, and as you guys can see, it's popped out as a window. I can go into full screen mode and actually use the browser if I wish, but that's how the splash breaker works. It's important to note that you can add multiple at the same time. So let's say, for example, you have a Yeezy supply link, for example, and you want to add 100. I want to add 5 in this case, but let's say you want to add multiple. You hit the add browsers button, it'll go ahead and open them all up. So it is pretty useful. This is the remote task monitor section. This is when you go ahead and use quick tasks with your cook groups monitors. You can go ahead and connect all that up. I'm not going to break that down in this video. However, I will leave the documentation to this entire page linked down below. So if you want want to read up on it, you can. We also have a video about that on that guide as well, but this is what it's going to look like. You're going to see some logs about it over here as well. Because we aren't using any quick tasks at the moment, no logs are going to appear. But if I were to disconnect and reconnect, you can see that the log function works perfectly. You can see that I'm connected and disconnected over here. You can go ahead and configure auto start tasks and auto connect. That is essentially enabled at the moment, and if you want to disable it, swipe it to the left and that will go ahead and disable it. Then obviously swap it back to the right to enable it. Moving over to the manual cookie gatherer section, this is pretty self-explanatory. This is where you can go ahead and manually gather cookies to be used with your tasks if you wish. So let's go ahead and break down what we can see. We have the import button and the export button. Simply, if you want to import cookies, you can, and if you want to export the ones you go ahead and gather, then you can. Then you have the website, cookies, proxy, delay, and actions. So essentially this will show the websites that you can go ahead and gather cookies for. This will show the total amount of cookies you've gathered for that website. This is where you can go ahead and select a proxy list that we've configured on the proxy section when you start the gathering process. Then you can go ahead and configure the delay, and essentially how that works is once it gathers one cookie, it will run that delay and then attempt to go for it again if you wish to do that. Then this is the start button. This is the delete button to go and delete the cookies, and this is the button to go ahead and download the cookies. As you guys can see, there's no cookies there. That's why there's an error, but I want to demonstrate how this works. So let's hit the start button down here, and as you guys are going to see, the manual cookie gatherer box is going to open up. Let it go ahead and gather cookies, and as you guys can see, as one happens, it refreshes, it shows the counter down there, it shows the status, and it shows the total going up over here. At any point, you can go ahead and hit this button to go ahead and close down the gatherer, and that's gone ahead and closed it down. Then you can go ahead and export your gathered cookies if you wish by selecting it, hitting the export button, and it will go ahead and create a text file. Then we have the target cookie gatherer. Essentially, you can go ahead and configure your proxy list if you wish, hit the gather button to go ahead and pop up target. I will do that in a moment. And you can clear the cookies once you've gathered some. So let's hit this button here. It's going to open up target, give it a moment, and then you can go ahead and gather cookies if you wish. That is going to go ahead and conclude the broken down overview of the tools page within EveAIO.